back. So in this video we are going to understand the LeetCode problem number 1975, right? So 1975 is a maximize or maximum matrix sum we have to return, right? So the question says that we have to return the maximum sum of matrix element, but we have to maximize return, we have to return. Okay, what the question saying that we have given, very first thing is we have given is a matrix. It is n cross n. What is the meaning of n cross n? Let's suppose n is 3, means 3 into 3 is total 9 cell. Means if you draw the matrix, right, it should be look like this. Okay, when we talk about n is equal to 2, means it could be maximum n into n, means this is 2 into 2 is equal to 4, means total 4 shall be there like this. Okay, that is why it is saying that this is a integer matrix and it is n cross n. So n cross is nothing, n cross n is a matrix, we can say, where we will multiply n cross n. Okay, it is very simple. I guess you know this thing. Now the question is saying apply operations any number of times. Understand? Means we have to choose adjacent elements, right, of matrix. Each matrix element we have to choose, right, whose adjacent element means what? We have to consider that adjacent means if and only if they share the border. Let's suppose we'll talk about this matrix. Okay, so here it's called adjacent with this and this, with this and this is a adjacent, with this and this is just adjacent, but this is also adjacent with this. So if you're talking about this, it could be adjacent with this and this, right? Understand? Like that we can say. So when we talk about the matrix, if we talk about this one, it's shared with this one and this one. When we talk about for this one, it's shared with this one and this one, right? So these are the adjacent matrix. So we have to choose the two adjacent element, right? And then we have to multiply of each of them by -1, and then we have to find the maximum sum of the matrix of the element. This is what the question is saying, right? So let's try to understand through the exam. So can I say, let's talk about a very simple examples. If we have given example, in example 1, what we have given is this is a matrix. It is saying we have 1, then we have -1, then we have -1, and then we have 1. Okay, so very first, if you talk about the adjacent, what are the adjacent here, right? So can I say, if I'll consider this as a shared border, right? Because as you see, the adjacent elements are considered adjacent if and only if they share a border. So here in this case, I will check the test. I will take the first one where it share the border, right? So these two will be the adjacent elements. So if we will multiply this, right, with this and the with this and this, so what will it become, right? So now it will become, let's suppose 1 into what? Now very first you choose the element of the matrix, multiply each of them by -1, each of them by -1. Okay, so very first, when you multiply these two elements, right, when you multiply these two elements by each of them, and then row by -1, so what will happen? -1 and 1, this one, so this one and this -1, it become what? I'm talking about this one and this one, right? This one and this is the 1 value and this is the -1, so it become what? -1, right? So let me go back. Okay, so so this will become what? -1, 1 and -1 multiply -1. -1 and -1 is 1. We know that, means if you multiply -1 into -1, it will give 1. Or any of these become 1, it will become -1, right? So -1 will become 1 and this will become what? -1. Understand? Now again we can apply these operations, right? So let's apply these operations, which is a adjacent. So let's talk about the next adjacent. So can I take this is adjacent? If we'll take this is adjacent, what it will become? So okay, sorry, this I did a mistake. Let me clean. This is not -1. Okay, So now if we'll multiply again this number, so very first we have to choose the adjacent. So can I choose these two as adjacent, right? So if it is sharing this border, these two elements are become the multiply things, right? So we'll take this. Let's talk about the new matrix. -1 and 1 is 1. 1, this become -1, and this 1 and 1 will be there. Okay. Oh, sorry, one did mistake we have done. I think this was -1, so it is -1. So yeah, so keep checking, value should be equal. Now the all the values summation is what? If we'll do the sum, means 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, it gives you 4. So answer is this, and you have to return this. This is what the question is saying, right? And we have to find this by the code. Okay, so let's understand. So very first we should think that what we are given. Okay, what we are given. So we know that we have an n cross n matrix, right? Very first, n cross n matrix is what? It's a square grid, right? If it is 2 cross 2, it will be, the value will be like this. Okay. Okay, so we are given a n cross n matrix. It means it's a square grid, we can say that. Okay, so 2 cross 2 means there will be 4 cell will be there, correct? And similarly, if this is 3 cross 3, it means it will have 9 cells that we have talked about, right? Now think about what are the things it will contain. So each grid that you can see here, right, it can contains what? It can contain, right, either a positive value or negative value or 0. Can we say? So these are the three values are there which can be present in the grid cell, right? And we know that what is the allowed operations we have. So allowed operation is, so we can pick any element, right? Two adjacent element, we can pick two adjacent element. Give me 1 second. We can pick any two adjacent elements, right? That is called cells. Either this is up, down, left, or right, right? So these four directions will be there. So if the cell is sharing the boundary like this, or like this, or like this one, this one, or this one, or this one, so those we can say is adjacent element. So if we will pick any two adjacent element, let's suppose this and this, and then we have to multiply by 1, right? -1. And our goal, we know that. So can I say that if we will multiply the cells, let's suppose the element we have is negative. So negative, if the element is already negative, it will become what? Positive. Can we say that? If it is positive, it will become negative, right? If we'll multiply by what? It will multiply by -1. So if the cell contains negative value, it will become positive value. If it is positive value, right, it will become negative value. This is the thing we should understand. Since two cells flip together, right, so the parity, odd and even of the negative numbers matters, right? So can we say that the rules? So very first we can say we can make almost all numbers positive. We can say that, right? We can say that almost all numbers we can make positive. So if we can make all almost numbers positive, if the total number of negative value is what? If it is even and if it is odd. So if it is even means you can make everything positive, all positive, right? If it is odd means one value must stay negative. But if it is even, if the number of negative number or value is even number means all become positive. If any number is negative, let's suppose how, what I'm trying to say. Let's suppose here, how many cells is there? Let's suppose two cells is there. If these two numbers are negative, right, and this is positive, so if you multiply these two, it will become positive. Let's suppose another case, if it all are negative, right, this case all become what? Positive after multiply. If it is only one is negative, 1 1 1 minus 1, this is odd. So if you multiply any of these or these, right, it will be a odd, one value must stay negative. This is the thing we have to understand. Then if one must stay negative, right, can we say that it should be the smallest absolute value, or we can say it's called least damage. Understand? Can we say that? We can say that, right? So yeah, like I'm talking about this case. Let's think in a very simple term. If the value absolute sum is coming 4, let's suppose we have given a array like this, right? Any of this value, let's suppose we have. So can we say that if I'll take any of these two values negative, so the absolute value sum is what? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. This is 4. How many negative count is there? So the negative count is 2, which is even, right? So result is what? 4. Because we know that this is even, so it will become positive, and so the value is 4. Let's talk about the negative case. Okay, if this is minus 1, 2, 3 and 4, if we have this matrix, can we say that the absolute value sum is what? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is nothing but it is 10. Can we say that? What is the negative count? Is 1, which is odd. So the smallest absolute value is 1 here, this one. So the final answer is what? 10 minus 2 into what? 1, which is 8. This is the thing we should understand in the negative cases when we are talking about, right? Now think that if you are scanning the value, right, how will you scan the value? There should be I should move to 0, j should move to 1, like that we have to move, right? I hope you understanding how you are moving this side and this side, right? If you're moving that in this side or this side, we know how to move that side, okay? And so if you want to scan, right, the matrix, think about the scanning the matrix. Scanning the matrix is important. You can learn this one also. So very first, I equal to 0 and j equal to 0. When we move to the this side, means I will remain 0, j will become what? 1. Let's suppose when we are coming down, so I become now is 1, j is 0. This side, if you are moving now this side, means I become what? Is 1, j become 1. It means if we'll convert this into the array, this will become a matrix. So this will become like this. I hope you understand this because this is very important. Very first, both are 0, 0. Now j increased. Now I increased because we came down, and then both increase I and j. So can we say that at each cell, right? Or let me write down here. So can we say that here we will add absolute value to total sum. If the value is less than 0, will increment negative count and will track what? Mean absolute value, right? How? You will take the mean of the mean absolute and absolute value of values. Like this we have to go. So there should be no actual if let's suppose if we have if the absolute value to the total sum we have, right? So we have to add, we have to find the absolute value, you have to take the absolute value and then you will add to the sum. Now you will check if the value is less than 0, means you will increment the count, right? And then you will track the minimum absolute value. So mean absolute value should be the minimum between these two things. What is the minimum between these two things? If it is minimum, means you will return it, right? So the minimum absolute value will keep updating like this. Okay, so can we say that no actual swapping we need to do or flipping needed? Okay, no actual swapping and no flipping we need to do. So it means instead of simulating the operations, right, operation only affect the sign, right? So the magnitude never changes. This is what we understand. So we will take all the values as positive and we'll find the absolute sum, we can say that, and we'll fix the parity issue if the negative are odds. So this will turn the scary matrix problem into a simple traversal problem, right? And you just need to initialize. Let's suppose you will take the long sum equal to 0, then you will find the negative count equal to 0, then you will keep finding the mean absolute value, right? You will keep tracking the total sum. If you, let's suppose very first you will traverse to the matrix, you will get the value and you will add the sum, right? The absolute value of the sum. Then if the cell value is less than 0, the negative count will get increase and you will update the mean sum. Like that if you keep doing that. So if the negative is odd, you just need to do what? Sum minus 2 into the mean absolute value. Like suppose total is 10, you do 2 minus 1. So you'll got the minimum absolute value. And then finally we'll return the total sum, which is sum. So let's try to see how I'm going to write the code. Hello guys, welcome back. So let me increase this. Okay, so let me increase the size and then we'll do. Okay. Okay, so we are here. Very first, as we know that we have given the matrix and this is n cross n matrix, right? So as I told you, we'll create the sum first, which is we'll start from 0. Then we should have the negative count, we can say. Let's call the count and we'll say start from the 0. Then we'll say take a minimum absolute value and you can get from what? In starting we need the minimum, so we'll take the max value of the integer. So it's a max value of integer, right? Then very first you will take the for loop and you will say okay, int row, which will come matrix, and for loop will create and we'll say okay, int value, and we can get from what? The row. Then you will do sum plus equal to, now we will check the value and you'll find the math dot absolute value. Very first you will add this value, taking the absolute value into the val, into the sum, we can say. Actually we want this absolute value and we'll keep updating the sum in the total, we can say total. If now the value is less than 0, it means you will do what? Negative count, you will increase, right? This. If not, means you will find the mean absolute value that we have created, right? So as a mean absolute value, it should be updated with the minimum value, math dot mean, and you will get the mean absolute value and the math you can get from here. Here, same thing, right? The absolute value. Once this is done, right, you will just come out from the here and you will check the negative. If it is check the negative count actually. What is the negative count? So this negative count is starting with the 0. When it is less than 0 0, you will get what? Plus plus, you will increase. So you will say find the, it is odd or even. So check the odd or even. If it is not equal to 0, it is odd, right? So when it is odd, we will do sum minus equal to 2. It is in the long time, so we'll say long and multiply the mean absolute value, because it is taking the long here, right? So we'll take the long. Just that's all. Now return the sum. So this is a very simple problem. Okay, what we have done, guys, we have taken the total sum, negative count, and the minimum absolute value. So it's a very simple we will keep traversing over the matrix. You will get the matrix element. From each row you will get the value. You will check very first the absolute value and you will add another sum, total sum. Then you will check if total value is less than, the value is less than 0, then increase the count, otherwise keep updating the mean absolute value. Then you will check if the negative count is less than sorry, it is odd, then in odd case you will just multiply this and you will reduce the sum. So because 2 minus sum minus 2 into absolute we will do and return the sum. समझ में आया? हमने वेरी सिंपल किया. हमने क्या किया? हमने लॉजिक नहीं लगाया, सिंपल ट्रेवर्सिंग प्रॉब्लम लगाया, जिसमें हमने देखा कि नेगेटिव काउंट ही हमें पास चेक करना है. अगर ये सारे नेगेटिव वैल्यू, नेगेटिव काउंट अगर मिल जाता है तो सिंपली क्या करना है? 2 इंटू मिनिमम एब्सोल्यूट वैल्यू करके उसमें से माइनस कर देंगे, वैल्यू निकल जाएगा. ओके, सो थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग दिस वीडियो. इन केस इफ यू स्टक, प्लीज लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. एंड अगर आपको स्ट्रक्चर वे में प्रिपरेशन करना है, यू कैन ज्वाइन आवर ऑनलाइन क्लासेस. थैंक यू. The problem math dot absolute, why did ABS, sorry ABS. So guys, you can change ABS. Yes, this is the change we need to do. Okay, very first we'll take the sum, right, then negative count and the inner set value, and we'll traverse over the array, and for each row we'll get the value. First we'll do the sum, we'll keep updating the absolute value. If it is less than 0, we'll increase the count, and the mean absolute value will do where mean absolute value and the minimum between the value, right? So it should be the absolute value actually. And then we'll check if the negative count is not equal to 0, we'll multiply by the mean absolute value and we'll return the sum total here. And so this code is getting accepted. So thank you guys, thank you for watching. Thank you guys, thank you for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and let us know what you want to learn next in the comment below. And thank you for watching this video.